Hi, I'm Peter Kalmstrom of kalmstrom.com Business Solutions. In this demonstration, I will add two more columns to my Excel recurring tasks solution, and those columns are going to deal with comments to this. Each and every task could potentially have a comment, and also I want the user to be able to snap a photo of the task that they did. So I'm just going to insert two new columns here. Right click and insert. And if you're not, following along with what I'm doing here, please go back to the other demonstrations in this series because they will explain what we've done so far. Anyhow, so uploading pictures and stuff, that's what we're going to be doing in this one. So the comment column is very easy, it's just a text string there, and then it's going to be another one right there, and that's going to be the picture. And that's going to be a link to a picture that I'm going to be storing in SharePoint. Actually, it's just going to be the actual URL. It's not going to be clickable for now. We're going to do that later. But first of all, we're just going to insert the actual link there. Then in this script, we have to modify that in two places. This one first, I'm going to add two new columns here. Let's just copy that row there because it's going to be two new empty strings that we're adding there. So that's going to be the comment, that blank cell that we're inserting there, and then the picture. When we copy the templates and make them into tasks, then we're going to be filling those two with empty strings. When we're filling this, the non-formula cells of the task sheet here, then that's not going to go to age now, that's going to go to J, so we need to change that also. That's the only thing that we need to change in that script. So we'll just save that now and everything should be working. Next, we need to go to SharePoint and just create a new document library. I could use the same document library here, but I prefer to have a new one. We could also potentially create a picture library of the new style from the list, or we could create an old school picture library, but I'm just going to use a regular document library just to keep it simple. Task pics. Prefer not to have any spaces here in the name there. I can change that afterwards, but that will give me a more readable URL, so that's a good thing. So now we have that. Then we're going to go over into the app, and here you see the minutes worked dialog, and when I click on one of these buttons here, I patch the tasks data source with this values here. So now we're going to put two new columns on here and do quite a bit more. So first of all, we need to insert a new space for the user to actually select the photo, and we're going to do that on a new screen. So I'm just going to add a new screen, and we can do that from a blank one there. And then I'm going to add an image picker, insert, media, add picture. That's the one we want. All right. So that actually consists of one image container there, or the button, the container, the image, and the actual image control. So we're going to be working with these, so we can just leave them as they are now. We could rename them also, but let's continue without that. Then we're going to go to the app start, the app, and on start we don't have anything yet, but now we're going to need two variables. First of all, once the user resets this image, we need to have a variable for resetting. So I'm going to set that variable on app start, set image blank. I'm going to set that to true, and then we're going to have another variable which is the task file name. So I'm just going to store that task file name. It's just going to be a blank string for now, and then let's just run that on start code so that we have those two variables available. Then back here we have that picture now, and I'm just going to insert a text input, which is going to be my comment, and then a little label on top of that. Just comment. And then we're going to make this multi-line here. And the default can just be blank for now. And then we're going to add a button. There's the button. And that's going to be the submit button. Once we've added a picture and posted a comment there, then we're going to just submit. Now the next step first is of course to move the code that we had here in the minutes worked. Here the button 3 So when a user clicks one of these buttons, then it's going to navigate to the screen 1, which we're going to rename. So let's rename that photo and comment. So instead of just submitting all of this, we're going to save another variable, the number of minutes worked that the user selected, and then we're going to navigate not to the open recurring task, we're going to go to photo and comment. Okay, let's go back and set another variable. Set task minutes worked, and let's set that to 0. Alright, let's run that also so we have that. So let's do that. When a user clicks the button here, then we're going to set that variable. Set task minutes worked. It's going to be the value that we just had up here, this item minutes. Great. So there we have the navigation. Now we're just going to modify this photo and comment button here, the submit button there. Let's just rename that also, because I'm going to be working quite a bit with that one. So submit task, that's what we're doing. We're submitting all of it, right? So let's keep that on select. Let's push this up, and then we're going to do this one. This code we're partly going to work with. There's an issue, of course, there. Minutes worked is going to be task minutes worked. Oh, there's a false there. Okay, so we're patching the tasks and we're adding 2 new columns now. So those 2 new columns are, of course, in the data source, but we need to refresh the data source first to get those. Now we should have those. So now if we do comment, and that's just going to be that text box here. So let's just use this text box and rename that task comment and get the text there. It says that my comment is a date time. So that's the issue here. See that in the error message. So I need to go back here into my Excel spreadsheet. So put that both those columns. Now you see it's set as a date, but instead I'm going to make it as text. So it's set on autosave. So now I should just be able to go here and refresh that data source again. Now it liked it better. So let's try this part of the code out. Just go back to the open recurring tasks, and then we run it there. Move that for a while there, and now we go there. 45 minutes, and we haven't done anything with the picture yet. So let's do this. My comment. Then we submit that, and we should see that in the Excel spreadsheet now we should get a comment coming up here anytime. There we go, my comment. Okay, so that worked. So then we saw a few things that we need to improve. First of all, once we have done that patch there, once that's done, then we want to navigate back to the open recurring task again. That one. We can just do a cover right. That's perfect. There we go. We also need to clean that text box there, the task comment. So we need to clear that. That is done with a reset task comment. So that's that part. So now let's get on with the picture here. So let's rename these 2 controls here so that we know what we're working with. Here we have the image, button add image, that's a good one, and task image. Alright, let's just play it and see how this works. You can just click, I don't have to do all of this, I can just select an image there, and you see that that works. So what we need to work with though is how to make that upload, and we can't upload it into the Excel spreadsheet. Well, we can, of course, anything is possible, but that's going to be more difficult. We want to upload it here into our SharePoint site and library. To do that, we're going to create a flow, just an instant flow there, create new flow. We'll just create that from blank, and here we're going to ask for 2 inputs. First of all, the file name, and then the actual base 64 of that of the image. Then we're going to create a new variable, because when we get the base 64 over here, we have to clean it up a bit. So we're going to do a variable to do that cleaning up. Initialize a variable there, and that's going to be a string variable. I'm just going to call that cleaned base 64. That's going to be a string, and I'm just going to rename this action here so we know what we're doing. And here This is going to be quite a tricky formula, but of course we have the base 64 here. I'm going to work with that. So I'm going to use that in my expression. So first of all, we're going to split it into two parts, and the base 64 string is divided by a comma. So there's a starter part, and then there's the actual body of the base 64, and those two are separated by a comma. So let's find the comma. We'll do that by the split function. So we're going to split the base 64 like that. We're going to split it by the string comma there. Then we're going to take the second part of that, and that's going to be the index 1. So that gives us the base 64 string. But the whole base 64 string also contains a double quotation mark at the end, so we need to get rid of that too. So we're going to do a replace around the whole thing. We're going to find the double quotation mark there. We're going to replace that with nothing, like that. And then we're just going to close that parentheses. So quite a bit of formula there. I'm going to put that as a note so this becomes more readable up there. So there we see what we're doing. All right. So that's our step to get the base 64. And then I'm going to create a new file in SharePoint. And SharePoint does not store files as base 64. It stores them as binary, so we have to convert them to binary. Let's first select the recurring task site, and the folder path is going to be just task pics, and the file name is going to be the one we just got, and the file content is going to be that cleaned base 64. But not just that, we're going to actually do the base 64 to binary around that, base 64 to binary there, and then we do parentheses, and then we take the dynamic content of the clean base 64. So let's take that string also and put it in the comment there. There we go. That's my flow. 3 steps, but quite a tricky one there. So let's save this now and call it also, of course, save task image. Save that. Now we have quite a bit of coding in Power Apps FX to do. So let's get into that. We're going to modify this submit button here. First of all, we need to check if we actually have a picture. Let's do that with the if statement. Check if it's blank, the task image. If it is blank, then we're just going to set this variable, task file name. And we're setting the task file name to blank. Of course, we can put that here in the tasks data source also. We do picture, and that's going to be the task file name. However, if we do have a picture, then we have to do quite a bit of other stuff. First of all, we need to figure out what the file name should be. And we want it to be named as the selected ID of the task. So we're going to set the task file name again. And that's going to be the ID, the gallery 1. Selected ID, right? So that's what we're going to have, and we want that to be part of the string, so that we're going to do a concatenate, build that string there. Oops, let's do it again. So that's the first part of the string. The next part is going to just be a period, and then we're going to figure out the file name, because the user could have uploaded a PNG or a GIF or a JPEG or whatever, so we need to figure that out from the file name. And the file name is actually stored in the button, btn add image. Then we're going to get the file name from that, but we need to find just the extension part. That's what we want there, right? So we're going to get the mid part, and use the mid function to take that out, and then we're going to find out where the period is in the uploaded file name. So we're going to find the period for that, so we're using the find function. We're finding in the button image file name, and we're looking for the period. That gives us a number, and then we're adding a 1 to that because we want it to start after that. So we are closing the set. It wants double quotes there, so let's use those instead. There we're getting the file name. Then we're going to just call this flow that I just created, save task image. And then we're just sending along those parameters. It's going to be the task file name. and then we're sending in the JSON of the image that we have selected. So we're going to do the JSON. We're going to base64 encode that JSON task image, and then we're going to do JSON format include the binary, because that's of course what we're after. The reason I'm getting a message here is, of course, I can't just call this function here. I'm actually going to have to run it also. I'm going to run it with those parameters. Now we have saved that image to SharePoint, and then again we're going to set the variable so that we have the full file name here. So let's just do the set again, task file name, and I'm just going to make it very simple now because this demo is getting very, very long. So I'm just going to take this part of the URL and just hard code that, and that's going to be concatenate, and it's going to be that entire string right there, and then we're going to add the task file name again. Concatenate, there we go. If I spell that correctly, then I get all correct. Alright, there's one more thing we need to do. We need to reset that image. So let's do that also. Regretfully, we cannot just reset the image container here. We actually need to set the image blank that we had before, that we started with. So first of all, let's go back to the actual image control here. The button has an image called reset. So if we set that to the variable image blank, then we get it to blank, and then we, at the end of this code here, we set this variable again to set image blank to false, and then we set it to true again. So that should be it. Let's try it out. Go to the first screen, run it, go to the buy fruit task there, set that to 60 minutes, add a picture of the koala, perfect, and then I write my comment and I submit, and now it should navigate back to the screen once it's done uploading and pasting into Excel and all that. And it did move back. Let's check at our SharePoint document library. Should have a file there, and let's open it up. There's our koala. Let's go back into Excel, see what's happening here. And here's the image. Let's copy that string and see if we got that perfect. Just do that, paste that over there. Of course not, I've missed that one. So let's just do that. There we go. Okay, so let's go back into the code and fix the only issue there. There we go. And just put that backslash on there, and then we're good to go. So in this demo, we created 2 new columns in the Excel spreadsheet here. We added the ability to add a comment and a picture to each of the tasks. And we also modified the Power App Canvas app here to allow us to upload pictures and submit comments. Thank you very much for watching this demo.